Hi, everyone. It's Dave Tropiano from FBA Fast Track. I have with me on the phone Justin Bowman. Justin, how are you today?
Good, Dave. Yourself?
I'm doing great, doing great. Justin comes from us from whatthehellshouldisell.com, and Justin's going to talk to us today about a simple system that lets you generate maximum income by discovering the most profitable products to sell online. Justin, really looking forward to this. Why don't you give our listeners a little bit of background about yourself and kind of where you came from, what you've been doing in the internet marketing world?
Sure. I started out selling on eBay. Actually, it's a funny story. My wife needed to get a job. This is way back in the day, and she went for a job at eBay, and she came home. She was all excited. She said, we've got to start selling on eBay. We've got to get our feed back up. I really want to get this job. So that became my sort of job, and I started selling all the clothes that we didn't wear anymore that had a brand name on, made a bit of cash, turned that into a business, made enough money to replace the income that I was on in the army, and it's all history from there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Have you just been selling physical products, or have you dipped the toe in the water in the traditional internet marketing world of, kind of authority sites, affiliate marketing, a little bit of AdSense?
Yeah, dip my toe in the water with the affiliate stuff. Haven't really cracked the code there. It's mainly been physical products for me. Um, that's been my background and where I've had the most success. I do a bit of marketing for some of my clients, some AdWords stuff, some Facebook stuff. But developing Magento sites is where I make a crust now.
Excellent, excellent. It's kind of funny because I think there's this whole subculture of incredibly successful online marketers that have never gone to the Warrior Forum, that never get, sucked down one launch after another, and they're out there selling, wedding favors and wedding supplies and salts and just about, anything you could imagine. They're out there selling physical products with a store, and they're using it to either, build their own income or supplement an existing income. They know tons about marketing and conversion, and they just don't get sucked down the traditional IM rat hole. So I think it's great to hear.
There's no doubt about that. Some of my, very good friends in this space, have never ever considered being an affiliate for somebody else. You know what I mean? They're more than happy to sell physical products day in, day out.
I completely agree. So let's talk a little bit about what the hell should I sell. By the way, for the folks listening, this is an awesome report. Really, really good report. I guess Justin came out with this last year back in 2012, and then recently you just finished a set of updates, right, to kind of freshen up some of the content?
Yeah, look, I updated it briefly. I didn't really change the screenshots or anything like that. Google's changed a bit with the look and feel, but the principles behind what I wrote previously still remain. So,
Awesome.
you know,
Awesome. So let's dive in. So one of the things that I really like is you talk a lot about, the nuts and bolts, you call it, of everlasting or evergreen success online, and you recommend a great process that I learned about from my friend and mentor, Michael Campbell. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you talk to clients and people about kind of getting started and where they should get started in their online journey?
yeah. Well, the real guts of it is selling something that people want to buy. That's the very bare bones of it. You might have a good idea for a product, something that you might love, and you could go buy a container of it, and you'd be sitting on that container for a year if no one else wants to buy it. So, that's really the guts of this whole story.
Yes, and do you recommend that people kind of go through the uncovery process, Michael's uncovery process, to kind of help them figure out whether something is the right thing to sell and that
Yeah,
they can kind of handle long term?
definitely. There's two steps to that. Think like figuring out what the right thing to sell is. So something that other people are going to want to buy, but also thinking about something that you're going to be able to talk about for a long time and talk about passionately. When I first got into this game, I started selling women's clothing. It was a big market. A lot of people wanted to buy it, but I could not talk about it. Do you know what I mean? I'd sort of get up in the morning and dread opening those emails about, will this fit me? I just didn't enjoy that. And that evolved away from women's clothing into fitness products, which is something that I am passionate about and have been selling now for, 7 years. So, being passionate about it yourself as well as having the market there to sell to are two very important pieces of the puzzle.
Got it. Got it. When we talk about having a market to sell to, how important is competition? Do you want to be the only game in town? Do you want to go after a market that has lots and lots of competition? Talk about the kind of pros and cons of that.
Yeah, a lot of competition. I don't want to be an inventor. I don't want to risk my house on a new product line that I think is going to work. I want to know it's going to work, and the way I know it's going to work is the fact that other people are already doing it.
I mean, I agree. I agree entirely. I think we're marketers first. We're marketers first. Innovation is way overrated. You don't want to have all the costs involved with being the first in the market and crossing your fingers that this is going to catch on. You want to find what's already selling and find the people that are buying that, and then actually go ahead and execute.
Yeah, and there's so many people doing it badly. You know what I mean? It's not hard to do it just a little bit better than the next guy.
Oh, amen to that. Amen to that. So we talked about, you want to find something that you can handle for a while. If you have no interest in plus size women's clothing, you shouldn't be selling plus size women's clothing. If you're interested in fitness, then you sell fitness related products. If you're interested in needlepoint and basket weaving, then hey, make a business out of needlepoint and basket weaving. Talk about, if we find a product area niche with some competition, so we know people are buying there, how do we figure out what kind of people there are that are buying things? Are there tools that are out there that we can understand our audience and our demographics?
Yeah, definitely. You've got things like Quantcast and what used to be DoubleClick, Ad Planner from Google, and they tell you the demographics of the people visiting your competition sites. You know what I mean? So, there's so much information out there that's accessible to you, and that's really where you should be starting. And I mentioned in the book here, I come up with an avatar named Sally, and she's 39. She's got 2 kids. She's got a dog, and the way I figured all of that out was by looking at the data on some of the biggest pet sites out there.
And this is you said so much in the last couple sentences that are just so important. You went out and you created what you call an avatar called Sally. Tell me a little bit again about Sally.
Well, let me read it from the book. Sally's 39. She's got 2 kids and a dog. Her husband works and Sally stays at home looking after the kids and the dog. Sally spends some of her time shopping online. The family love their pet dog Max to death and spoil him with treats and affection. Max gets a bath once a week. He gets walked every day and he gets taken to the vet once every 6 months for a checkup. In order to do all of this, when Max was a puppy, Sally jumped online and purchased the following: a collar, a lead, dog shampoo, a dog brush. Max has long hair, a dog cage to take Max to the vet, 4 toys including a ball and a plastic bone, and 2 other strange things that we don't really know what they are, but Max likes the yellow one. This is just, these are all the things that she had to buy, but writing it into a story like this means that you can actually talk, in your copy to the person that's going to be buying it. And they really resonate with that.
So important. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's just so important. I hope the listeners understand this, that you have to get personal, that you're always selling to someone. You're not just there saying this collar is 15.5 inches long and is 1.5 inches thick, or whatever the equivalent is in metric units. You're actually telling a story. You're appealing to a certain kind of person. And I think this extra step of going out there and defining your avatar and doing an emotional map and understanding that you're selling to Sally and she's 39 and she has 2 kids and a dog, all these things make your copy, just like you said, make your copy so much easier to write and so much more effective than what every other person out there is trying to do when they're selling their dog supplies or their fitness products or really anything else.
Yeah, for sure. And, once you've done this research and Sally like she's a friend of yours, the little things that you come up with in your email responses and the phone calls when you're talking to customers, it makes all the difference. It really does.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and it's funny in the corporate world, you see the same thing. If you go to a corporation or to a full-time marketing firm, you know, when they do the avatars, they'll literally grab a picture out of a magazine or grab a picture out of a newspaper and they'll put it up on the wall. And you know, that's Sally. That
Yeah.
exact picture of Sally, and they'll write down her whole bio on the side, so it gets as personal as you can imagine,
Yeah.
in trying to understand who you're talking to. Really, really powerful thing that I think probably 99% of the folks miss. All right, let's talk a little bit about product research. So, you know, we have a niche area. We know there's some products. We've identified an avatar that we want to sell to. We kind of understand where he or she are coming from.
Yeah.
What are
So,
some?
sorry, mate.
Go
You
ahead.
go.
No, no, go ahead.
Um, Amazon isn't in Australia yet. I believe that they're coming very soon. So that's, not a real big part of this book. So I started out doing my research with eBay. And, this is the thing about e-commerce. It's so transparent. You can see exactly what products are selling for. You can see how many products have sold. You can see complaints about products. You can see what worked, what didn't, what copy people are using. It's laid out for you on a platter if you're prepared to, go and actually look for it.
And eBay has some pretty massive data mining tools, right? Not just
Huge.
from eBay, but you know, CameraTap and Terapeak, right? Those are just great data mining tools
Yeah.
that go after the whole eBay system.
Terapeak's a killer tool, literally, I found a product using Terapeak. It was an outdoor spa bath or a jacuzzi. These were selling for between $4,000 and $7,000. This is when auctions were big. People got all excited, and they're not so big anymore. The whole auction side of it, eBay's big on buy it now. But when auctions were big, you could sell these things for $6,000. And I was literally at a friend's wedding over in Fiji. We were sitting around the pool watching people buy these spas from us. We had a third-party logistics company shipping them out and looking after the incoming containers from China. And it was great.
Oh, that is a great story, and I hope the listeners caught that. You know, read the book, and you too will be vacationing in Fiji, letting somebody else handle the shipping of your $6,000 spas and jacuzzis to others. That's a great story. That's a great internet marketing life cycle story. So we've got eBay. eBay is a great place for product research, both eBay's own tools and then external services like Terapeak. I completely agree. You know, whether you're building your own store, whether you're going to sell on eBay, or whether you're going to do even on Amazon, you get a picture for what's popular by using some of eBay's data mining tools.
For sure.
Talk to me about our friend and our enemy Google and some of the ways you can find out about products and what's popular using just simple Google searches.
Yeah, simple Google searches. Again, a lot of data, and I actually learned some of this stuff from Andre. And just looking at, if you do a search for an exact term, so you know that on eBay, let me just find this so I can get the terminology right. There's a certain number of, eBay shows the number of items sold for buy it now items, and it'll say, 57 items sold. So you do inverted commas and you do 100 ... 1000, and that means you want to search for products sold 100, like between 100 and 1000, and then items sold as an exact term, and then you do site : ebay.com. It'll search for all of the products on eBay with that history of sold products. So they've sold between 100 and 1000. So you don't have to filter through all of the other crap.
Oh, that's great. You know, and I think a lot of folks don't realize how powerful Google can be as a search engine as the consumer. So, you know, the site : command is amazing because that just searches a specific website. The double quotes, the quote that you're saying is also important because it's exact match. Search these pages for this exact match, and then the ... the range. So you can say, 50 to 1,000 or 1 to 10,000, or, if you wanted to search Amazon and only find products that are $5,000 or more, you can do a site : Amazon.com, and then in double quotes, 5,000 ... 100,000.
Yeah,
And
like from what you were saying, I watched the video, and you can do Amazon. You can search for products with, say, between 50 and 1,000 reviews, and only 1 to 3 available. So there's only a few sellers.
Oh, that's a great tip. That is a great tip. We should we'll write that up and put that in the FBA fast track material. That's a great idea and a great way to supplement that search.
Definitely.
Talk about reviews. So we were just talking about reviews. So we can use Google or Amazon's own searches to find existing customer reviews. What are some other places that we can go to find customer reviews for a given product?
Look, there's a hell of a lot of review sites out there. A lot of them are sort of just big affiliate sites, but they've still got some very sort of pertinent information. Choice. .com.au is a good one here. There's a whole bunch of review sites out there.
Yep. Electronics are great with CNET, CNET.com. There's consumerresearch.com. In the United States and part of Western Europe, Consumer Reports is a big, massive review site that's been around for like 50 years. They were a print magazine, or still are a print magazine.
Yeah. I've got Consumer Search on here.com as well. That's,
Yes, and reviews are important, right? You want to find products that are popular and are selling, and generally have good reviews, because that will make for an easier experience for you. You don't want to get into a market that, even if it's selling well, you get a lot of returns and a lot of complaints. You're just buying yourself headaches.
Yeah, and another thing, and this is another thing I learned from Andre, which is very clever. Look for the 1 and 2 star reviews and read them. And counter those arguments in your sales copy.
Great point. Great point. Absolutely. So your sales copy should be not just a story and good sales copy, but you also want to address objections, right? Kind of classic copy marketing.
100%.
Copywriting. You want to address objections, and the reviews, the 1 and 2 star reviews, will always give you all the objections that people find.
Correct. Yeah.
Very, very good. Very, very good. And a good example of that was how we kind of counter-programmed against the larger ASM product course, Matt Clark's ASM product course, which, great course. Great course. I have it, went through it. I think it's really well done. Obviously has a high price point and a long barrier to entry. 8 weeks, go to a conference. You get a lot for your money, but it's an awful lot of investment. If time and money. And Andre and I found a way, for example, to kind of counter-program against what some people would perceive as the negatives, the cost, the time commitment, etc., but still try to get the essence across.
Definitely, very clever. And I even got targeted with an ad on Facebook today. It was a guy, I've taken a screenshot of it actually, I'll upload it to the Facebook group, but it was a guy who was telling people that their 30-day free trial for the Amazon course was just about up, and visit this other site to see cheaper courses. but don't forget to get your refund.
Oh, wow. That's that's brilliant. That's brilliant for somebody to kind of jump on and take advantage of that trend. That's actually some pretty good thinking.
Yeah.
And you could apply that in any big launch, right?
Yeah.
So there's an entire internet marketing subculture. You could buy all the big launch products, do a summary product of that, wait 30 days, and then market the hell out of it to the Warrior Forum and Facebook crowd that's interested in internet marketing, and say, do your refund and buy my course for 1/10 off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just downright evil.
I'm not sure how good karma's going to go for that.
That is just downright evil. Oh my gosh, that's so evil. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
We hinted at something before. We hinted about the Terapeak tool for eBay, and Terapeak is not just for eBay. I know they support Amazon and some other shopping engines. Tell me a little bit about why you like Terapeak and all the different things that it can do.
The 80-20 rule. Perry Marshall's doing a big thing on this at the moment, but it's always existed and people have always known about it. But you can go into a category that you're passionate about, fitness for instance. you can drill down into specific subcategories. So maybe boxing is a good one. You can sort by the top sellers within that category and see how much, what their turnover has been for the last 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. You can open up a different tab for each one of those sellers, and you can literally skim the top 20% of their products off, from each of them, and go away and start your own business, just using the cream.
I hope people realize how powerful that is. That's amazing.
I didn't articulate that quite well, but say you've got a seller, he sells 100 different products and his turnover is 100 grand for the week. You can bet your bottom dollar that 20% of those products, or 20 of those products, are creating $80,000 of that revenue. And if you pick the top 5 sellers in a category and pick their top, even the top 2 or 3 products from each of them, you're well and truly on your way to a good, solid business.
That's great. That is great. I hope everyone gets the power of this. Terapeak it's actually pretty inexpensive, right? It's a monthly fee tool, and they have a couple of different versions, right? They have a kind of a local country version and then a worldwide version.
Yep.
Do you recommend folks get the worldwide version or the in-country version?
I reckon get the in-country version, sign up for the 7-day free trial, pick your category, pick your products, cancel your trial so you don't get analysis paralysis, and get to work on buying your products and building your business.
Brilliant. Very, very good. Very, very good. You talked a little bit before that you're doing some consulting, or you do some client consulting building Magento sites.
Yep.
I know what Magento is. Actually just finished a commerce deal with a partner where we retrofitted her. She has a brick and mortar store. Yep. Selling wedding table linens and stuff, mainly wholesale. So we just retrofitted wholesale wedding chair covers over into a Magento store, and it looks great, performs great. Tell everybody a little bit about what Magento is, because it's obviously very different than Amazon and FBA.
Yeah, so it's an e-commerce platform within itself, so it's yours. Obviously, you pay for the hosting. You've got to control it and manage it, market to it, etc. But what you can do from there is put your products out to multiple channels. So you can list products to eBay, you can list products to Amazon. You've got all of the shopping. You can feed out to all of the shopping comparison sites. Basically, you're in control, and the world is your oyster.
Yep. So for the folks that are just down the Amazon route today with FBA, and that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that model. Andre and I teach that model. We're excited about that model. But this interview is going to be part of our Beyond Amazon module, and I just want to make sure that people understand that Amazon and FBA are not the only game in town. And in my experience with e-commerce sites, there's kind of 2 options. One is kind of the hosted option for you, where you can go down the path of a Yahoo store or a Shopify store or a BigCommerce store, and that's a hosting company that you pay a monthly fee to, and they have the shopping cart kind of already built in, and you have to fit within their shopping cart. Magento's different, right? Magento's like OpenCart and OS Commerce and all these other ones, where it's like WordPress. You install it into your own site, and then the world is your oyster. You can kind of do anything with a Magento template, plugins, applications. It's a whole world out there that supports Magento, right?
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, it is massive, and you just talked about one of the big advantages to Magento. It's not real hard to install, not real hard to optimize, works on a MySQL backend. Again, it kind of feels a lot like WordPress, but it's just for e-commerce. But the big deal is you can take your product catalog and publish it to Google Shopping. You can publish it to Amazon. You can publish it to NextGen and all these comparison sites. So if you're looking for an e-commerce system that's pretty easy to install and get up and going, I highly recommend Magento, and then reach out to yourself or others local to understand how to start to tweak and refine it to fit your own look and feel.
Yeah, and even if you're starting out and you would prefer to work with a hosted version, they have Magento Go, and I would definitely recommend. You're never going to scale something like BigCommerce or Shopify. There's too many limitations in my experience. Great, they are good for starting out, but if you're going to go big, you may as well start with Magento Go. At least then you've learned how to use Magento before you go and install your own system.
Oh, that's great. I didn't realize Magento had some hosting. So magentogo.com, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. I'll have to actually take a look at that myself. So talk to me about, if you build your own e-commerce store, you have your own website. And when you have your own website, now you have all the fun things about marketing that website. Talk about your approach for figuring out, let's look at organic traffic first. You want to rank for some of your keywords to get people to your site. Talk a little bit about keyword research in your experience.
Again, the keyword research, comes from your products basically and what people are talking about. I use Market Samurai to see what the competition are doing, to sort of see what the anchor text they're using for their backlinks and that kind of thing. But that might be getting a little bit too deep if you're sort of just starting out. But put the keywords in your product titles. Put the keywords in your copy. Rewrite your product descriptions. Don't copy other people's product descriptions. And you've got a good crack at it.
There's a couple things there. One, in finding keywords, and you cover this in your report, one of the best places to find keywords is from your competitors. So you can go to the Google AdWords or Google Keyword Tool, and you can put in whether the old keyword tool or the ad planner one, doesn't matter. You can put in your competitors' websites. You can put in your competitors' websites, and Google will tell you, oh, this web page is about warming dog beds and Wi-Fi dog fences. And they'll actually give you a list of related keywords for any web page you put in. And that's just a great way to harvest a keyword list beyond what you think the product keywords are. And you cover that in the report. You also talked a little bit about Market Samurai. I've been talking about Market Samurai for years. Love the tool, even though it is a little bit pricey, but absolutely love the tool because it gives you a picture of what everybody else is doing to get their web pages to rank. And and the golden rule, as I've said for 10 plus years now, is find out what your competition is doing and do just a little bit more. And if you do just a little bit more, all things being equal, you're going to be better. You'll rank higher, you'll do better. And that's true no matter whether we're dealing with penguin, panda, hummingbird, Florida, tsunami, coffee, or any of these other Google updates. Find out what's ranking. Find out why they're ranking as best you can. And a tool like Market Samurai helps you with that. And then just do a little bit more. And that'll get you there.
That goes for every aspect of your e-commerce business. It goes for customer support. It goes for selling more products on the back end. It goes for following up. If you can do it just a little bit better than the next guy, you're going to win.
That is great advice. That is great advice. So, I really want to encourage folks on the call to go to whatthehellshouldisell.com. Just spell it right out, whatthehellshouldisell.com, and you'll see, kind of a nice website. You'll get subscribed into Justin's email list, and I have to say, your copy is great. I really enjoy getting the emails. I think your copy is great. It's very interactive. And I encourage everybody to go to whatthehellshouldisell.com, and you'll also get a copy of the report when you do that. One other thing I wanted to mention, and you brought this up before, and I didn't catch it, but now I just want to tie it in. You talked about, when you source a product or when you find out what other people are selling, don't use their product descriptions. Write your own. Why do you want to write your own?
So you've got a better chance of ranking in Google for a start.
There you go. That is simple right off the bat. Keep going.
And so it sounds real, and so you're talking to your customers because the manufacturers are not talking to the customers. The manufacturers are talking to the businesses that are buying the products from them. Two different kinds of customers, you know what I mean? A consumer is a different customer to a business, which is interesting. But
I completely agree. The manufacturer's description tends to be very features driven, whereas when you talk to your customers, you want to be benefit driven. A couple of years ago, I wrote this great post that I learned from one of my other mentors, Ken Giddens, and Ken got himself. He was a consultant more than anything else. He got himself into all these bad situations. Somebody hired him to sell pepper spray. Somebody hired him to sell coat hangers online or salad dressing packets online. So Ken had to figure out, and this was 15 years ago. This is when the net was really first starting, 20 years ago, when the net was first starting up. How do you sell pepper spray online? And you don't sell pepper spray based on, the size of the canister and whether it can fit into a little, decorative lipstick sleeve. You sell pepper spray by telling a story about a woman who needs pepper spray to save her life.
Yeah.
And, your copy has to tell a story, like you said before. So if using the manufacturer's features is good. At some point, you need kind of those specifications, but you have to tell a story. You have to focus on the benefits. And it's kind of funny. The day before, so we're recording this call on a Friday. On Thursday, I got an email from Dan Thies and Leslie Rhodey, and they did an interview with Colin Theriot, pretty well-known copywriter. And Colin actually said that rewriting the product descriptions is the number one thing you can do when you're launching an e-commerce store. And the number two was to shoot your own photographs, shoot your own product images, which I completely agree with. Your own product images, again, it differentiates yourself from everybody else trying to sell the same stuff.
Yeah, well, in e-commerce, a picture paints 1,000 words. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, I agree. Well, Justin, I want to thank you so much. Again, to everybody that's on the call, go to whatthehellshouldisell.com and pick up Justin's report, subscribe to his email list, and really get a great process. I think it's 8 steps. Get a great process, an 8-step process to doing research, finding out what you should be selling, and how to go about and find out how that product is selling. Doesn't really cover in-depth kind of sourcing and everything else, which is a whole separate world, but definitely go if you want to learn about niche research for selling physical products. I think your report's the best I've read in years and years and years.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. One thing I do want to just touch on before we go is you can test your products before you buy anything. Just put them on classified sites. If they sell, good. If they don't sell, then you know something's happening.
Oh, great. That's a great idea. And you can do that even before you invest a lot in Magento or any kind of e-commerce platform.
Don't invest in anything. Just list your products on the classified sites. They're free. If people ring up and say, have you still got it? Just say you've sold out or keep their number for when you do get them in. But you don't have to buy anything before you test the market.
Oh, brilliant idea. And in fact, that's very similar to how Dropbox launched, right? Dropbox just had a web page that said, are you interested in this idea? Noah Kagan from AppSumo, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's launched a bunch of companies. Very, very similar approach. Can you just find anybody that gives a shit? Can you find anybody that's interested enough to justify you spending a little bit of time and money to go a little bit farther?
Yeah.
Great advice. All right, Justin, I know it's late for you in Australia. It's early in the morning for me in Pennsylvania in the United States. Have a great evening. Thanks an awful lot for the call. I will splice and dice this and have it up for the group, but I truly appreciate it. One last time, go to whatthehellshouldisell.com. Sign up for Justin's list. Go get this report. It's a great, quick read. 47 pages of really good advice on niche research and figuring out what to sell and how to find out what's already selling.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Thanks a lot, bud. Hey, take care. Have a great day.
Cheers, mate. Bye.